So, any of you like Murder Drones? I've been getting back into it recently, and due to being autism, I became obsessed to the point of needing to know everything about the show. Did you know this guy's called Lord Frontalbucket? And something I noticed while watching the show is just how short Uzi is compared to the rest of the cast. And I don't just mean N and V, but the other worker drones as well. Now this may sound obvious to some of you, but I thought it was interesting enough to try and measure the heights of the cast myself. And some of the results kinda surprised me.
Nice. Get it now!
So we know N and Uzi have canonical heights of 177 and 136 centimeters respectively, so we are luckily not completely in the dark. This still raises the challenge as it is quite difficult to find a full body shot of either of them standing next to someone. Luckily, I found a crackhead solution. The heads. We fortunately have the models of N, Uzi, and V T-posed in the album covers, so finding their heads should be easy. All I had to do was compare N's head to his body and get a scarily large head size of 49 centimeters. All I needed was an image of N and V standing next to each other to find her head size, and with the album cover it was easy to discern a height of 157 centimeters. But what about Jay?
We were supposed to get away, Jay! We do our jobs on this planet, and it leaves us alone! It tricked you! If I promised you anything, it tricked me too.
This one was a lot harder, as while I managed to find out her head size, trying to measure it got less than logical results, so I tried a different method. Comparing her height to N in this image, I found her to be about 17 centimeters shorter, or 160. The hat is slightly cut off though, so I used this image of her next to Jay to find a surprising 162. Wow! Alright, so we know this is assembly crew's heights, but what about the worker drones?
Wait, hold on. Ew, it didn't kill her. Oh my god, that's so bad.
Lizzie was way easier as I was able to quickly get her head size and measure her to 145. Doll her was just a wee little bit harder as trying to measure her head failed, so I just assumed she had the same head size as Lizzie and got a height of 143. This should be accurate as they seem to be around the same height, so a difference as small as that does make sense. Now, the most surprising of them all. Thad.
Lifesavers again! Thanks! Super invited to my shindig next weekend. Cool kids only.
Okay, so before I decided to measure them, I've always thought Thad was about the same height as Doll and Lizzie, but when going to measure his head, I found it was actually taller than Lizzie by quite a bit. I decided to measure him two ways. First was the head method, which got him a whopping 151, easily the tallest worker drone so far. Then, for good measure, as I was surprised at how tall he was, I measured them the same way I measured Jay, and got a taller height of 152. Weirdly enough, this is more accurate than I thought it'd be, as he is taller than even Khan Doorman. The Khan, the guy I thought was the tallest of the worker drones, is actually not. Using the tried and true head method, I found he was only 151? 148 if we don't count the goggles. That is probably more surprising than Thad's heights, to be honest. But whatever, the journey isn't over and we got a mom to measure.
Bite me.
Luckily we have a photo of Khan right next to Nori. Sadly, she's crouching, so we have to use a hologram of her to get her standing straight. Seriously, like her daughter, this lady cannot stand normally. Like, come on, you want back problems? Anyway, you'd think she'd be quite short due to Uzi's height, but nope, she's 143, just like Doll. You'd also think Yeva would be around Doll's height, and yep, you'd be right. I assumed her head was the same size as Nori because of the hats, and got a result of 141 and 143 due to her foot being slightly in the snow. Camper time!
Shouldn't they be back from their immoral makeup session by now?
Rebecca!
Who did this to you? Don't remember name. Super unpopular.
Descriptive clues, man!
Purple eyes. Hot topic.
I feel like I'd remember someone like that.
First, I used Lizzie to get Sam's height, then I used this image to measure the rest. Though since they aren't all perfectly standing next to each other, I had to make some assumptions on their head sizes and got this. Brayden, whose name has two different spellings for some reason, is almost as tall as Thad at 151, Emily is a tiny 138, Sam, as you know, is 147, Rebecca is a staggering 149, and Darren isn't far off at 148. Alright, enough of the side crew, we have the finale ahead of us.
There's humans coming. Who are the FEX robots, Jay? Quick, pretend to be ripping royal stud! On you go.
This thing got me pulling my hair out as the set in the past, with the only link being a near impossible to scale Tessa. I mean, I tried, but my results came to the 200 centimeter range, and we know this isn't true as Tessa is shorter than N. So I thought of an absolutely insane method that somehow worked. Eventually. So basically, I somehow used N's head to measure how big N's head is. Confusing, I know. So, using N's muzzle and scaling his head that way, I got Butler N to a height of 147 centimeters. But how do we do the others? Family picture, baby! Using the same method as Thad, Jay, Sam, etc., I managed to find out the heights of the whole fam. Made Jay is slightly shorter than N at a height of 146, with Made V being notably shorter at 137. Tessa validates my method by measuring to a height of 161, making her taller than V, but shorter than N. The parents are a terrifying height of 193 for Louisa and 203 for James. That's their names, by the way. Now, they should be shorter than this as both are wearing large hats, but the fact that they're this tall at all is insane. And of all these, all I have left is the shortest one of all. Sin.
You seem upset, Big Brother N. Perhaps you'd like to attend the gala with me. Light sip.
Now here she measures to a microscopic 112, but in typical Sin fashion, she is not standing even slightly straight. Luckily, this image here gives us the closest we can get, and I estimate she is between 125 and 130 centimeters short. This is a bit more of a guess than the others, but it should be somewhat accurate, hopefully. And with that, we have the heights of a bunch of the characters. Now, I didn't get every character, Teacher and Alice being noticeable absences, but I think I did good enough. Here is a very far from perfect visualizer. I tried to use SFM, but not only were Nori, Eva, Tessa's parents, and the whole cabin crew missing, but Doll was just an error and I have no idea how to fix that. Well, that's all the time my mental health has. See ya!